This is how not to campaign against Donald Trump. I like Tom Perez a lot. Tom Perez is the Labor Secretary, Obama administration. He's actually my first choice for VP for Hillary. I like Elizabeth Warren a lot, but I'd prefer she stay in the Senate and become a great liberal Senate leader. I think Tom Perez actually overall has a very progressive record. He's done some very good things at the Labor Department, and his record behind, sort of beyond that, is flawless or pretty impeccable. No one has a flawless record, but a very good record. But nonetheless, here he is speaking to George Stephanopoulos. And Stephanopoulos is making the Brexit-Trump connection, which is actually a really, it's just wrong. It's in a kind of broad generic sense, you can draw these parallels, but the voting demographics, the situation are radically different. There's a number of ways of answering this question about the growing rise of populism and the threat of Donald Trump. You could say, if you're from the left, as I think Tom Perez actually is in some respects, we need to match that. Or you could do what he does here, which is resorting to some of the dullest, most boring and oddly Trump-affirming talking points you could imagine, but at the same time, clearly targeting those suburban Philly and Cincinnati voters. Here's Tom Perez being dreary on George Stephanopoulos.
The Labor Secretary, Tom Perez, he's here today representing the Clinton campaign, not in his official capacity. Secretary Perez, thank you for joining us this morning. You just heard Senator McConnell right there. He said, basically Democrats ought to be wary of the fact that you've got this wave of populist anger that could hit here as well.
Well, George, let me answer your first question you asked of Leader McConnell. Is Donald Trump qualified to be president? The answer is no. He's a chaos candidate. The differences between Secretary Clinton and Donald Trump in terms of temperament, in terms of judgment, in terms of values, couldn't be more stark. And they're on display once again over the last 2 weeks, whether it's the Brexit aftermath, where he talks about how great his sprinkler systems are, or whether it's the aftermath of Orlando, where he's once again dividing America, or in the aftermath of the Supreme Court cases where, Hillary Clinton is about we. Donald Trump is about me. And Hillary Clinton understands that there's angst here in this country. We've made a lot of progress under this president, but we've got a lot of work to do. And her vision of America is a vision of we. We're stronger together. Donald Trump is all about me. And that's the fundamental difference between these two candidates.
You talk about that angst in the country, and, the poll isn't all good news for Secretary Clinton, even though it shows she has a pretty large lead.
Do you remember this other candidate who was sort of on the scene several months ago who used the phrase chaos candidate? We did jokes about his mother dating him. He's a chaos candidate. Donald Trump's a chaos candidate. Some people, including people who would never vote for Donald Trump because he's a xenophobic, bigoted, trust fund narcissist scam artist who represents the most reactionary party in an industrialized democracy, they would like a little chaos. They like some healthy chaos. They'd like a real living wage for people. They would like real reform of Wall Street. They would like to stop going bankrupt because of healthcare prices. They would like to have their debts relieved. They would like to stop living in a plutocracy. Now, it could be, again, because ironically, it's a valid argument in some respects. There is a validity to the innate, Donald Trump just can't be president. Fair enough. But in that talking point, from a progressive guy who has a good record, that shows the danger of the campaign, and it shows that, again, all things need to happen simultaneously. There's no contradiction between accountability and pressure and voting for somebody. And I did also I did find, even though Tom Perez has been my pick for VP, I did find that to be sad, empathetic. I actually wrote it down. I was bored. And then I wrote down that he said chaos candidate. And I actually legitimately couldn't believe my fucking ears. It's like, Let's go borrow a slogan from the biggest political failure product launch in American history. Like, what are you thinking? Am I being too hard on him?
Oh no, I thought it was ridiculous. I don't know his background, to be honest, but I thought it was probably one of the worst, most tone-deaf interviews I've seen on a Sunday talk show in a while.
I mean, it was, I don't know what, that was sort of exhausting even in a minute and a half.
Hello, you. I'm Sam Seder. Looking for smart progressive talk that is occasionally amusing? Well, subscribe to our YouTube feed. Subscribe to our podcast. Like us on Facebook. And just generally enjoy us.